What up? What up? It's your boy Blake Anthony back again with the Overreaction show. We're gonna talk about the Bucs, Chargers, recap, talk about some things, talk about what's real, what's not real, what you should buy into, what you should not buy into. And as always, you can find me on any streaming platform. You can check out my reels. You can check out my perspective. So I always got type of stuff going on. I'm always interested to hear people's different points of view. What do players think about certain things or something like that? Because I'm always engaged with these guys. I don't show a whole lot of it because that's like my intel I get on my own. But some of the stuff I will bring out to you guys. Today, we're going to go through the box score and kind of talk about what I think about that. And we're going to listen to Todd Bowles' interview post-game and then talk about some of the things in that. Because sometimes when I talk, I miss some points because, you get so caught up in the conversation of talking about it. And you get so caught up on one thing and then you forget and you miss another. But let me start, as I always start, let's take a look at the box score. Let me full screen it. Here. All right, 40-17. Passing yards, Baker 22 for 27. 288, 4 TDs, 1 pick. It's a pretty good stat. 22 completions out of 27 attempts, only 5 incompletions. Well, 4 and then 1 interception, but you can count it all the same. Justin Herbert, 21 to 33, 195, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The return of Jamil Dean has played a key part. Bucky Irving, 15 carries, 117 yards. Gus Edwards, former Raven, 8 carries, 23 yards. The Bucs have always been stout stopping the run and just got to work on stopping the pass, and they've been doing that with guys coming back, getting healthy. Let me go here. Mike Evans, big game. I think it's like 251 yards with 3 games left to make 1,000 yards receiving. Led the day, 9 receptions, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Millen, again, another good game, 5 receptions, 75 and 1. Sterling, 1 for 16. It's kind of phased out. It's phased out a little bit. Now McMillan's playing well. Levante with 8 tackles, basically 2 sacks. They gave him 1.5. Interceptions go to Jamil Dean. We got another one. Logan Hall with a sack, almost 2 sacks. And again, you're getting all your sacks from the interior parts of the defensive line, none of the edge. That's got to be an area of focus coming into the offseason next year, because Vita Vea and those guys in this system should not be leading your team in sacks. They should not be. They should be contributing to pressures and getting sacks, but they should not be leading your team in sacks, and that's where the majority of your pressure comes from. But it is what it is. That's what they're going to have to figure out. And that's why Todd Bowles has to blitz, bring pressure off the edges, force the quarterback up for the interior pressure to get sacks. It's all part of the scheme. So everybody talks about coaching and adjustments. The man's been doing that. You're just not paying attention, or you don't know where to look, or you don't know how to read when somebody's making adjustments and when they're not. But that just comes with football knowledge. And there's guys like myself and other people who try to help you look at things in that way. We'll put that out. As I said, we'll talk about Todd Bowles later. But it was so Baker had those 2 Baker had the 1 turnover. The offense had 2 turnovers in that part in the game where Baker threw an ill-advised pick. It was behind. He threw it behind the receiver, Mike Evans, and the quarterback in the corner was able to jump it and pick it. There was one series, and they were scored on that drive. It looked to be all doom and gloom for the Bucs at that point, but they were able to hold on. And then they came into the second series where it was a 3rd down conversion. It was kind of a 2-back set, handed off to Rachaad White. And I don't think he really got a chance to secure the handoff. So, and in fact, he got kind of stripped out by Bosa. And then that was the second turnover. Luckily, the Bucs didn't allow that to become a good turn into points. It was they were able to get stops and to move on. I'm sorry for I keep pausing. I was just trying to get the video up and ready for you guys to check out Bowles' post-game interview, and there's a lot of stuff in there I want to talk about. But, yeah, that was the other turnover. So, and then they kind of held the storm. They went into halftime down, bounced back after high time, didn't allow the Chargers to score an entirely second half, and the rest is history. Bucky Irving. The run game started getting going. The pass game kept going. McMillan kept first downs. Mike Evans getting first downs. Cade Otton started getting involved. It was kind of the offense started clicking, and seemed like the Chargers kind of ran out of gas a little bit. But let's jump into Todd Bowles' post-game conversation, and then I'll talk a little bit in it. I'm going to jump in and out of that as well. So let's pull this up. So it's full screen.
Okay, we'll get started. First question will come from Greg Allman.
Hey, Coach. Welcome back. Congrats on the big win. First of all, just trying to see if there were any injuries to speak of coming out of the game. I saw where Will Goldstone only played one snap on defense. I was curious whether he had something come up or that was just the way the game shook out.
No, it's kind of the way the game shook out, especially in the second half. But injury-wise, we got in a little late, so people are trickling in late. Don't have any reports right now.
Okay, Todd, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go to Jenna Lee.
Hey, Coach, thanks so much for doing this. Sorry for the delay there. Just what can you say about the effort that your entire team put together yesterday? It seemed like it was arguably one of your most complete games of the season.
It was definitely one of our most complete games. All three phases helped out in the victory. I thought those guys had great energy coming out, something we talked about before the game. They really came out in the second half with even greater energy, and they finished the game on both sides of the ball, so that was good.
And I know Sterling Shepard had said about, I think I've mentioned this to you, but about just kind of preparing your guys in training camp for whatever adversity might happen in season, right? Like, you never know what it's going to be. You never know what position group is going to get hit particularly hard with injuries, but just kind of getting them that early on kind of in the mindset of, okay, something's going to happen this season where we're really going to be challenged and pressed. And just can you speak to the importance of kind of doing that as a coach and how that may have helped you this year? Because, I mean, you guys had a lot of injuries on defense.
I mean, as a coach, it's huge. You know something's going to happen. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be something that goes wrong. There's going to be something off the field that goes wrong. But preparing for it and then understanding it and taking the body blows as part of football is something you have to do as an athlete and definitely as a coach. So we prepare for it. We talk about it. We practice that way. We practice with guys that one step away from playing, and everybody understands the mission once they get in there. And those guys have done a great job of filling in when they got their chances.
Thank you.
We'll go to John Romano.
Hey, Todd, you've got several players on offense, Barton, Bucky, McMillan, that are rookies, a little less so on defense, but Tyke's playing a lot. Could you just talk about the way, the method you go about working younger players into the lineup and whether you have to make accommodations for them throughout the year?
The way the league is going right now, coming out of college, you don't get the luxury of sitting everybody for a year or two behind somebody else. So you got to kind of draft guys. If you're drafting 7 guys, at least 4 of them better be significant players right now, and the other 3 better have a skill set for either the near future or something down the line. And, you know, we start training them from day one to be professional for their moment, not to be too big for them during the season, put them in different situations and practice all day long. Nothing like playing in the games, but they get those situations. They see the guys in front of them. And we figure by mid-season, you know, we went through some trials and tribulations the first couple of weeks before our bye. And afterwards, they matured. They're finishing plays. They're doing everything the right way, and it's helping pay off. So our coaches do a great job of getting these guys ready.
So would that have something to do with the fact that the team plays better in December, that these guys are sort of grown up by now?
I wish I could say it does. I would like to think we learned from our mistakes. I think a lot of it's from the mistakes we had in the first half of the season. I think they've matured and grown up through injury or otherwise. Those guys got to play a lot more, and their confidence has grown, and they're really fitting in and finding their roles within the team right now, and they're settling in playing good football.
Scott Reynolds.
Hey, Todd, I jumped in just a little bit late here, but have you addressed the play of Tristan Wirfs and Luke Gedeke against their pass rushers yet?
No, I haven't, not yet. They've been doing a good job the past couple of weeks, especially Tristan and Luke. Luke's been doing a great job all year. Ever since he's come back from his injury, he's been.
I'm going to jump in here a little bit here and talk about it a little bit. So when you talk about, they talked about the rookies and being able to come in and train them all season. You guys talk so much trash about Todd Bowles not having teams prepared, being out coached, blah, blah, blah. Only game I saw this man get out coached was against Denver. He straight out said they did not do what we game plan for. Straight up said it. Man's been honest about what he's supposed to be honest about. The way they've prepared guys, they've been hit with everything, including the kitchen sink, with injuries everywhere, all types of stuff, highs, lows, turnovers, whatever it was. And he's able to keep these guys engaged, keep these guys going. And you want to know what that I'm gonna say a key part that a lot of people ain't gonna like or you don't want to hear. When you kept saying people kept saying the defense, oh, it's gonna let you down and all that. Players notice that you don't believe in them when you take them out of situations where they can win or when they have a chance to win, like the Chiefs and the Niners games, big games, dealing with a lot of injuries. They didn't hold up, and they ended up losing that game. And the players, and I'm sure Levante and those guys came to him, we let you down, coach. You trusted us, and we didn't. That's him trusting his players and his veterans to do what they're supposed to do. And you get fruits of your labor to now when you're faced with the same adversities, these guys come through for them. I know a lot of these guys like Tampa Media, these guys don't have a lot of good questions to ask. I don't know why I'll never get invited into these because I would bring a lot of good questions to these coaches and players that you guys wouldn't think of. Instead of looking things, I don't get my information off of somebody else's websites and stats. I get everything off of what I watch. It's a lot of stuff. These guys don't, when you're playing and coaching, you don't look at the numbers like that. You go with the flow of the game, the way the flow of the game is going. If they're allowing me to do this, and this is the stuff what we're going to do. They're weak here. This is the stuff what we're going to do and exploit, just like teams do to them. That's called coaching. Preparing these players to do playing spots and things like that at ill-advised time. I told y'all they would pick up Ryan Neal, and he would probably play linebacker. He played nickel linebacker in that game because he had to play emergency linebacker at one point, and it'd be better in coverage. The man has tried to move pieces around everywhere, all types of season. Some people talking about not consistent. The man's been doing different things. When one thing don't work, you got to try something else. This week it worked. It may not have worked the other week because you're playing a different opponent. So that's why you can't do the same thing every week. It's not Madden, where you can run the same blitz play and it works over and over. These people have brains. And these people are athletic. They spend time coaching and looking at film just like you do. So if something works in a certain part in the game or a point in the game, that's when you win it. That's when you run it. Everything is in-game adjustments. It's not just halftime and everybody goes, oh, the halftime adjustments. You know what was great about Tom Brady when I talked to my boy Caleb and I talked to Ben Jarvis Greenells? Tom Brady used to make adjustments within series to series, not just wait till halftime when you're missing out because you only get a certain amount of series a game in a football game. And my last thing, when you're talking about the tackles were, you know why the tackles didn't have so much stress? Because you didn't constantly put them in 3rd and 15s, 3rd and 20s, 2nd and 20s, 2nd and 15, 3rd and 15s. You're put in situations where you could run or pass. The run game, I pointed out earlier, Bucky Irving, 15 carries for 119 yards. You ran the ball, so you took the ability to rush the passer out of the game. That's why they played well. I don't know why none of these guys said this in these interviews, but the ability to run the ball is the reason why those edge rushers didn't play any part. You made it easy for the tackles. You didn't put them in compromising situations. That's why your tackles were able to play so well on top of them already mentally preparing and playing well. Let's continue.
Been very stout for us on the right side of the line. Seems like Tristan plays better if he's not healthy than he is when he is healthy. Not that he's played bad when he was healthy, but his concentration, his focus, his understanding of what's getting ready to happen and what he has to do for his job. Those two guys have done a heck of a job for us.
Can you also speak to just, it's one thing, and as a defensive-minded head coach and play caller, to have to face that elite offensive tackle, it's kind of rare the teams have two, but that's what you guys seem to have in the bookends with Tristan and Luke.
We're trying to be a complete team. We're working on it. We got two very good tackles, we feel, and we feel like our interior is very good as well. So those guys play together. They practice hard. They understand each other. They understand the mission. They're having fun this year. Luke and Tristan are very close. They train together in the off season, and I think they're both doing an outstanding job.
And one more for you, if I could. With young players like Vi Jones and Kayvon Merriweather teaming up on that takeaway, the forced fumble by Vi and then the recovery by Kayvon Merriweather, what can that do for a young player's confidence to make a splash play like that? I know as coaches, you like to see them just do the little things right, but to have, to play a role in their young careers in a takeaway like that, what does that do for a young player's confidence?
Well, it's 2 weeks in a row for Kayvon. He almost had one last week and then getting one this week. For Vi, it just builds his confidence even more and more. Kayvon's had a little bit more playing time, but just as confident, and he's playing a big role for us right now, and I think he's doing great.
Thanks, Todd.
Brett Gallman.
Todd, you guys have talked about how important the line of scrimmage is and physicality of the line of scrimmage with any Harbaugh team. You guys use that forward defensive line look, that 6-man front. Usually it's like a goal line package, but you used it in some 1st and 10 and some midfield. And then your tight ends, I think you had 49 snaps from your backup tight ends, a couple 13 personnel type snaps. Just want to ask you about the importance of having extra bodies on the line in a game like this on Sunday.
Well, they had a 290-pound tight end and a 200 and almost 90-pound fullback, so it was almost like it was goal line. So certain situations, we had to put bigger guys down there in order to try to slow these guys down. So it kind of fit what we did at the time. And then offensively, at the same time, we got guys with Cole Keefe. He's a heck of a blocker, and we got different packages. And you start to incorporate these guys in, trying to do different things and let them do what they can do well so they can succeed.
Mara Carey.
Hey, Coach. Congratulations on the win. In the first half, there were turnovers on back-to-back drives, an interception, and a fumble. In the past, we've seen mistakes kind of take a domino effect. What can you say about the team's ability to maybe not let the errors get to them and fall into that trap and instead bounce back with such an authoritative win?
We've matured. That happened the first half of the season. We didn't react so well, and now we react very well to it, and we don't let it stop us on what we're trying to do. And those guys have matured, and they can correct their mistakes now, and that's the big part of how we've gotten so good.
Donnelly.
Hey, Coach. When this was something you could really see when Brady first got here, and it's continued even after his retirement. But some teams in the league will just kind of be stagnant throughout the year, and sometimes even decline as the season goes on, as injuries kind of take their toll. But your team last year, same thing. There's that late season or even mid-season kind of ascent. What is key to that happening? Do you think with teams it's a big function of coaching and self-scouting? Is it players holding each other accountable and kind of their internal leadership? What has to happen for teams to be able to consistently do that every year?
Well, for us, I know especially the last 2 years, we've been playing a lot of younger guys, and our veterans on the team do a great job of holding these guys accountable. We know they're going to make some mistakes in the beginning of the season and the first half of the season, but the second half of the season, we expect these guys to come around. They'll be seasoned. They understand how to be pros. They understand how to play through injuries. They understand the assignment, and they understand the scheme that we're trying to pull off. So I think it's the maturity of the players, the young guys. It's the maturity of the vets that's helping them along, and the coaching staff does a great job getting these guys ready to play. I think it's all the above. I can't speak for everybody else in the league, but for our team, that has a big part to do with it.
And then I know that there was kind of that lull there against the Raiders, or you have some in-game lulls, but to be able to be a team that in the third and fourth quarter, really like the fourth quarter, to be able to clamp down on an opponent, just what is happening in your halftime and some of the adjustments you guys may be making as coaches that is allowing your team to really be at their best when a game is on the line and when you really need to pull ahead?
The halftime adjustments are great. I think it starts in practice because we practice situational football and end of half and end of game so much. It's starting to register with a lot more guys, and as a group, they're talking more on the field and they're executing a lot better in the second half.
Thank you.
John Romano.
Hey, Todd. A lot of the players have mentioned that a few weeks ago you sort of challenged them, saying that every game from here on out is like a playoff game. Is there sort of an art to gauging the mood of a team and knowing when is the time to say, okay, this is the moment you guys have got to turn it around, that, we don't have any time left, or how do you decide when to push that button?
Well, you should always have a gauge of your team, good or bad. You should always kind of know what you're walking into. And for me, it really wasn't a button to push. I mean, it was for real. We meant every word we said. It was playoff time. We lose 1 or 2 games, we were out. So we understand we had to run the table and take it game by game. And those guys understood that, especially the ones that were here last year. So you pick and choose as a coach, and you get a feel for your team, what you need to say, how you need to say it, to who and to whom. So we kind of go from there as a staff. You got to have a real good feel for your team, though, in order to do those type of things.
We have time for a few more. We'll go JC Allen.
Todd, yesterday Luke and Tristan held that vaunted pass rush that they have over there with the Chargers to just Bosa and Mac to just 2 pressures on 48 pass rushes. Just talk about the play of those guys if you can, and how they set the tone for everybody else on the team and on that.
I can't. That's redundant questions. All right. So, yeah, like I said, some of the earlier, that question was already asked about the offensive line. You ran the ball. That's why they were ineffective. You were able to run the ball. You didn't put your offense. You didn't put your quarterback in your offense in compromising situation. That's why the tackles. It seemed like the pressures were low because you didn't put yourself in compromising situations. And when you were in compromising situations, you executed, or you had a good play where it took the pass rush out, i.e. screens, i.e. balls out to the edges, things like that. And that's on Cohen. That's on Cohen in the offense. But the Bucs have found a way. I told you what would happen with this offense, and I think they figured it out. The absence of Godwin, you have the necessary players to fill the void for Godwin. Having the ball go out in the flats, like Rachaad White is 6'2". I don't know if a lot of y'all knew that. He's 6'2". So he can go up and get balls, and he's a great pass catcher. Just like Godwin, you can catch that ball in the flats and make people miss, just like he did for a touchdown. It's the exact replication of Godwin. I don't know why none of these guys have mentioned that in none of these interviews, but like I said, you can steal it if you want to. They be like, whenever when y'all get one and Rachaad scores again, but has Rachaad White stepped into the role of Godwin and those screens to the sidelines with his ability to break tackles and to make people miss in space and able to get first downs and touchdowns? There you go. I hope your years of journalism people out. Those are questions that nobody asked. That's what they've done. Bucky can go back in the backfield. He's having great success running the ball right now, and Sean Tucker as well. And you can move Rachaad White essentially to play the Godwin role. Sterling has tried. He's not Godwin. You tried McMillan in there. They're not Godwin. They don't really have that ability to break tackles, but Rachaad White has fit the bill for that. And that's what has worked, and that's what's working for this offense. Great job, great coaching, great job of them. Otherwise than 2 turnovers by the offense earlier, just one behind ball thrown by Baker Mayfield. He had a pretty decent game. Like I said, I always give him props when props is due. He turned the ball over early and he bounced back, made some smarter throws, tried to keep the ball out of harm's way, protected himself. Big part. What he had a little issue with is protecting himself from taking unnecessary injuries. But all in all, he did a great job. Kicker always did a great job. Special teams, everybody did their part. There wasn't really no huge area of focus in this game. Like I said, other than 2 turnovers on offense, they cleaned it up, didn't give up any points on defense in the second half, and they did their things for the most part. So that's what I got. And listening to the media, like I said, this is why I always bust on them. They had a great win. A lot of people didn't pencil them in to win this game with no secondary help. And they all sound so depressed. They sound so depressed that they blew out the Chargers. Harbaugh, guy y'all Tampa Bay wanted as a coach, et cetera, et cetera. And they blew that team out, and they sound so depressed. That had it been the other way around, they'd have had so much enthusiasm in their questions. Like I said, this fan base is so fickle, and the way they thrive in negative times and things like that's when a lot of them have a lot to say, and a lot of them show their character and things like that. It's just funny watching that and listening to questions and things, especially after a big win like that, fighting for the first in the division and trying to have a 11-win season. They could technically have that here on the table, but whatever. It is what it is. I do what I do. They do what they do. See you guys next time. As we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with this, entirely up to you. See you guys next time. Check out some real reels and some other stuff we put up. Peace.